Hi, welcome to November's 2014 technique class with Michelle Last, and on this video I'm sharing with you the shaker card that we've made using the Festival of Trees stamp set from Stampin Up, which is this stamp set. And basically the idea is that this is a shaker card and my sequins have stuck to the edge so they don't shake, but that's okay. Mine's a very pretty 3D card. Hopefully yours will be a shaker card. So I'm going to show you how we made this. So when you joined the class, you were either at the class or you were posted the packs. This is the paper pack you will have received. As is always the case, the paper you need for the front of the card is on the front and the paper you need for the inside of the card is on the inside. So at this point we're just going to work on the three pieces that were on the front of the card. Now, excuse me, I don't know if you can see, we've got, I have already embossed and cut for you. I'm very aware that not everybody has the embossing folders and the dies, so I'll do that for you. And also, once you've die cut and embossed yourself, you don't really need to actually do that again and again. So I've done that for you. So you can see the little stars on there, and this is from the Apothecary Accents die set. You've got a window sheet, which is a plastic clear sheet, and you've got a piece of white card. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to layer these up like this, but then we're going to add some kind of dimension on the back to give there room to be sequins and things on the inside. So let's start with the stamping. The one that you're going to make, we're now going to stamp the trees, and I love that this is quite a modern stamp set. I think the tree images in this, and I look at it, I think it's quite a modern contemporary stamp set, but when I see it used in this card, it makes me feel very traditional. So I love that the tree stamp that we're going to use, which looks like proper tree branches, that's what we're going to focus on. So if you think about it, we're going to stamp on this white sheet, excuse me, this is going to cover the white sheet, so we're not actually going to see all the parts of the white. So don't worry too much about going all the way to the edges or into the corners. And what we're going to do first of all is we're going to mask off the snow area, like here. So what you want to do is just get some photocopy paper or some really boring standard plain paper, and I want you to lay it down roughly across the center of your piece of white card. And can you see I'm trying to see how I want my landscape to look. I think I'm going to go like that. Okay, so I'm just laying my scrap paper over my Whisper White card. It's really important that you hold this paper in place. Now there's a couple of techniques. I'm going to do both for you so you can decide what you want to use. I've used the Pool Party ink and I'm going to use a brayer, is the first technique. So when you're inking up your brayer, turn your ink pad so that you've got the widest part and the brayer will just about catch that. Now I'm inking this up, but I'm inking out quite gently. I'm not adding loads and loads and loads of ink, but I have Pool Party ink on the on my brayer now. I need to reposition this because I just moved it. Excuse me a moment. Okay, and what I need to do is I'm going to stand, but I'm going to roll my brayer across and just get it on my Whisper White sheet. So start just off your card, away from your card, not on the card because you'll end up with a line. So just off the card, and I'm just going to brayer across. You can see that I've got a darker bit and a lighter bit, that's fine. I'm just going to go over it. If I wanted to, I could add more colour, more blue, but I'm not going to worry at this stage. My lights are very top heavy and they keep tipping over. And there we've got one background. That's one way of doing it, and we have got quite a line there, but we can be clever with that and cover that with a tree if we want to, but I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to show you the other way of doing it, and if you prefer, most of the ladies in the class did it this way, but if you prefer a gentler effect, you just need to get some sponge and the Pool Party ink, pick up some of the ink onto the sponge. And what you're going to do is you're going to start off the card again, so you're going to start on the pattern paper, and just in a circular movement you're just going to add ink to the paper. Now you can see this is going to take a little bit longer, and you're going to get, depending on how much ink you add will very much depend on how much blue you get in the background. But what I don't want you to do, one of the tips I gave this morning, what I don't want you to do is, you can see I'm going in a circular motion and I'm moving up. Don't come back down, because what you'll do is you'll curl this paper back down on itself and you won't get a nice crisp line. So I'm just going to build up the colour until I'm happy with it. Be careful about inking up your sponge. Inking, and then go straight onto the white, because you'll end up with a blob. So start off and work in a circular motion, and then you won't get any harsh areas. So you can, so if you don't own a brayer, brilliant, you don't need one. If you do own a brayer and you like that sky background technique, then that's a nice thing to do. It depends how inky your pool party ink is as well. So I'm going to use the sponge side. I just prefer it to the braid side, even though it's not horrible, but it's not ideal. So I'm just going to set my piece of paper aside and my sponge aside. And what we're going to do first of all, and I'm not going to set my piece of paper aside, I'm actually going to get my paper again and I'm going to lay it back down where it was. I'm going to try and lay it back down exactly where it was, because now I'm going to stamp the tree. So I'm going to work, first of all, I'm going to work on this tree section here. I probably am only going to do this section here. I'm not going to do the little trees in between, just up to here. So what I did was I used the Mossy Meadow ink pad, and I just used that one ink pad to get the different coloured trees. So if I ink up my tree, now we don't want the bottom part of the tree, we're actually going to cut our trees off so they're going to look like that. So the first tree I'm going to do, if I do it roughly about here, and then when I move it across, I'm going to overlap the last one slightly, I'm going to come down a fraction, I'm not re-inking in the meantime, and you can see we just get a lighter tree. And if I do another one here, you can see we've got the different colours there. So I'm going to tap and get some more ink on here, do a dark one here, and perhaps I'll do I'm going to do another dark one, so I need to re-ink that. Do that one there, okay. And then when I move that away, we've got that beautiful, I just love it, it's so crisp against the white, it looks really stunning. You've got your trees, they're straight, are they straight? Yeah. And now what we're going to do is we need to get some trees going on in this area. So to show you the sample again, we're going to mask off another area and do some trees over here. So you can use the same bit of paper if you want to. I'm just going to, what I can do is if I use the bit of paper just here, I'm just going to use the paper like that. So I'm actually going to put the trees here now. So again, I'm going to ink up my tree. Do a nice big tree in the foreground, and then I'm going to do a smaller tree just here and ink it up again. I'm going to do another one here and then one there. There we go. And now what I'm going to do is just do a couple in the background here. So I need to lay my mask back down, line up the same piece of paper. If this is getting really inky, be careful, because you don't want the ink to go from this bit of paper onto your lovely crisp white card. So just be mindful of that. I'm just going to give it a clean, because I've got it over the clear block quite a lot. Okay, and I'm going to re-ink, and at this point I'm just going in between the trees. So if I do one there, by all means lift it back and have a little look. I think I need a light one just here. And then I'm going to do a little one here and a dark one here. There we go. So we've got a lovely tree-lined horizon and then some trees in the foreground. And what we're going to do is we're now going to make our snow glittery. I just want you at this stage to get your cut frame and lay it down. Can you see that I'm just looking and thinking, right, where would I like that to go? How do I want that to look? Will it go high up like this? Will it go down like this? I want you to be aware that the white bit of card might overlap your frame, and that's got to come off. You're going to have to cut that off if you're not happy with it just matching Mine's going to have to come off a little bit. Actually, I've just realised mine's too long, so just bear with me a second. I'm going to use my scissors because this is going to be hidden, so it won't matter if I haven't got a nice straight cut. So I just cut that off. So I might want to pull it down a fraction there. I think that looks... I need to cut off a little bit off the bottom. Might as well do that now. You can do it in the end with a pencil, but I'm going to do it now. Gosh, look how awful I've cut that. But it won't matter because it's hidden. So, okay. So mine is, I want to see a little bit of the white here, and I want to see at the top there. So that's good. I'm happy with that. So now what I need to do is add some snow to my white section. So the two-way glue pen, what you need to do is, let me just check this. This is quite an old one, and it isn't the one I used at class. I'm going to find the one that I used at class. Throw that one away. Here we go. Two-way glue pen, and what happens is it's a blue glue, and once it's clear, it's blue when it's wet, it's clear when it's dry. And if you need to get the glue coming out of it, what you have to do is just press it down and keep pressing it until the glue starts to come out of the tip. Don't pump it, and you'll see that it'll start coming through the tip. I'm just going to hold it down and make sure the glue is free flowing. So we want to get a nice bit of glue, but you can see I've got a little bit of blue glue there. So what I'm going to do, very simply, is I'm going to just colour with the glue. This is exactly what I did on my other card. You don't have to colour the whole area. I have got lines on here, but it's not going to be the end of the world. It's going to look absolutely fine once I've got glitter on it. You're then going to add things to go on the shaker frame, so there's going to be enough detail that people aren't going to be looking and thinking, why are there lines of glitter? So I'm just going to go down around here. Now it's quite a thin layer of glue, so it's drying quite quickly. So then I need to grab my glitter. Keep my glitter in one of these takeaway containers, and I'm just going to pop it in, sprinkle my glitter on all the way across, flick off any excess, and then we've got a lovely glittery snow scene. If you can see that. Okay, that's our lovely glittery snow scene. So I'm going to set that aside for a second to dry. So if I pop that over there, inside your card pack also, you've got a little vellum piece. I want you to do this next because we need this ink to be drying also. So we're going to grab the Early Espresso ink, we're going to grab our sentiment. I've got a sentiment from the Good Greetings stamp set, which was on offer with Stampin' Up last month. And at this point I'm just going to stamp it. I'm not going to worry about it being straight or anything like that. I'm going to sort that out in a moment. I'm just going to stamp Merry and Bright on my piece of vellum. Make sure that you've got enough of a gap either side. Don't go too close to one end. Get that clean. And what we're going to do now is grab our trimmer, which I don't know where my trimmer is. Here it is. I'm going to grab my trimmer. I'm going to see if I can show you how I cut. I always think it's better to stamp and then cut rather than cut to size and then stamp, unless you've got a Stamp-A-Majig, because you'll struggle with that. So this piece of paper is not straight because of the way I've stamped it. So what I'm doing is, can you see this dark line here? I'm trying to line the Merry and Bright up with a nice even gap between the dark line and the base of the writing, okay? I'm going to get that in place. I'm not going to worry that this isn't straight at the top here because my stamping clearly wasn't straight. I can use it as a guide. Lay that down, and I'm going to anchor it by holding it here. Now I'm not going to score, I'm going to cut. I'm just going to cut a nice strip across there like that. I'm going to turn it around the other way, and I'm going to do exactly the same. Now I can use that straight line as a guide this time on my grid lines of this trimmer. That's a brilliant thing about the Stampin' Up trimmer. It does have grid lines, so it means that you can use them to make sure that you're straight. So I'm now going to pop that down gently, hold it in place, cut a straight line, and then I should have a centered sentiment. The last thing I'm going to do is line up the T with that same line just here, and I'm going to score. Is that what I'm going to do? Yes, I'm going to just score that line there. Just going to do one score, so, and that's going to fold underneath. Okay, be careful when you stamp on vellum because it takes a little while for the ink to dry. So what we're going to do is we're going to position that on there like that. And the reason we've added this little piece here is because that will give you the perfect thing to glue down, because vellum is notoriously difficult to stick down without seeing the glue. I'm also going to cut a little banner in the end. So how I cut my banners is cut down the centre and then come from the edge to meet it, and then you should get a central even banner. Okay, so there's my little banner that's ready to go. I'm just going to leave that to set that aside for a moment. Now what we're going to do is we're going to stick our piece of window sheet to the back of our cut and embossed bit of card. So I'm just going to do that now. I want to get a nice, I do love this fast fuse, but my one keeps getting really mucky and caught up. Let's see if I can fix it. There we go. So we're going to stick the window sheet down. Okay. So good, look, it's actually stuck my fingers. Oops. Okay. So I'm going to just give my window sheet a bit of a polish with my cardigan because it's got fingerprints over it. And I'm just going to stick it down and in place. Make sure that it does not protrude beyond the card. So you've got your window like that. Now what we've got is in your kit you've got these little, I'm trying to think what they're called. They are called shaker frames. These are brilliant. So they're designed to go with our punches. So you can just cut out, pop out a circle, stick it on the back of a punch and add a window sheet, and you could add something shaker and something small. But what we're going to do is we're going to, excuse me, cut into at least 2 of the rings here, the 2 biggest ones. Pull the outside one off. They're just like our dimensionals, and then they're sticky underneath on this side, and then they've got a layer of paper on the top side which we'll remove in a minute, but not yet. So peel that off, and what we're going to do is we're going to go around the shape, but I'm not going to follow the shape too exactly, and you want to go a bit back from the actual die cut because otherwise you will see it. I'll show you what I mean. Try not to twist it. Mine's twisting a fraction. You can't really help that because we're trying to make a circle fit around something it isn't a circle. But try not to twist it too much. If you twist it too much, you will know your shaker won't move like mine in the sample that I showed you, because what's happening is your glue is being exposed and the sequins or whatever are just sticking to it once you've shaken them in place. So what I mean by not going too close is, if you can, I don't know if you can see down here, if you went really close to this die cut edge you would actually see the foam underneath. Can you see that? You can't really see that, so not too close. Now I'm going to pick up the next size, peel it off, and I'm going to start and go from the other side. Now you want to make sure there are no gaps, so you want to go right close up there and stick that down. No, we don't want any gaps because glitter and sequins will just try and slip out, and you don't want that to happen. Okay, so make sure the paper is covering the top as best you can. Okay, now I need to cut into this last one, and what I'll probably do is, I'm going to go for it. I was going to cut it in half. You don't want too many joins, so where possible don't cut it into small little lengths because you'll just leave little gaps and it just leaves it more exposed to leak. So I'm going to add that there, go around here, and then if I just trim this little bit off and stick it in. There. Okay, I need to lay that bit of tape on there. So perhaps if you've got a silicone sheet, what you want to do is turn it over and press it down really hard to give it a really good, I'm realising you can't see that, give it a really good press down to give it a really good firm bond, okay? But in doing so, any areas that don't have a backing on them will stick to the paper, but I think I got away with that. So now what we need to do is go back to our lovely glittery background scene. Before we move on, I do need to put some dimensionals into the corner here. So otherwise it's just going to bow in these corners. So I want you to add more dimension. If you add a dimensional, it'll mean it'll all stand up. You add as many as you wish. I'm going to probably just add one more. Even two more. Can never have too many dimensionals. There, look. So it's going to lay nice and flat without bowing or when it's finished. So I'm going to just peel those off now. I'm going to peel this off. Then what you're going to do is you're going to grab your card pack and pick out the sequins that were given to you in your card pack. Okay. So okay, there's my sequins and snowflakes. I'm going to add them to the centre of my card. Try and push them right into the centre like that, so that when you decide where you're going to stick it, nothing's going to stick onto it. Remember, I was being quite perfectionist about where I wanted that to be. Make sure that your card isn't going to be wider than your early espresso mount. So you don't want any card showing here, and if you do at this point you're going to cut it off. Then you're going to get a stamp case and just give it a good firm press down. I'm pressing that down. I've caught a little bit of glue on there. Just a little bit. Turn it over and make sure, if you've got anything like this where you've got a bit of this pad showing, I want you to put some double-sided tape on that. That's not going to be okay. So of course I don't have double-sided tape to hand. Hang on a minute. Working very precariously here, so I'm just going to get a bit of sticky strip. Look for my end on my sticky strip. Here we go. So I'm just going to patch up any holes. So I'm just going to lay that over there like that and peel that back, and then I actually need to add glue. Okay, oh, I've got it then. Get there in a minute. Okay, now I need to add some glue. So your glue of choice. Come on, Tombo. I'm such an impatient crafter, aren't I? Give it like about 3 seconds to work and then that's it, I give up on it. Okay, so there's our glued background. I'm going to get my card pack out of my card pack. That's for the inside. And I'm going to flip it over. Shake if it's working. And I'm going to stick it down centrally. Because I use Tombow, I've got a nice bit of manoeuvre going on there. My card's a bit long, actually. I don't know if you're going to have the same problem. So I'm just going to trim that off. Which probably means the inners are a bit big. I don't know whether that's just my one or if that's your one too. If it's your one, I apologise. I think I've got a bit of mismeasuring going on. If it isn't, if it's just my one, then my card's special. Is that going to fit? I'm going to trim a little bit off here as well. Now you could decorate the inside. I think it looks beautiful if you did some of the trees and echoed the same on the inside as you've got on the outside. I'll just quickly do that because it won't take a moment and I think it would add a really nice touch. So if you just do that and then that and then a little one in between, you've got some little trees to echo the inside as well as the front. I've got such grubby mitts. Sorry about that. Okay, so now let's stick that to the card inner. I have to say these dark colour inks, especially the Mossy Meadow and the Blackberry Bliss, are really intense inks, and they're not easy to get off your hands. They will come off your hands, they just tend to take a day, so try not to get it on your hands in the first place if you can help it. Okay, and do you know what I've done? I've forgotten to put the sentiment on, but it's okay, I'll show you. So when you're making your card, oh, do you think I should do it straight? For goodness sake, hasn't quite cut through that. I can see the cut line, so I'm not doing that horrible jagged cutting I was doing a minute ago. Crikey, I think I'm going to have to give this card to myself. What we need to do is we need to get this on here like that. So I'm going to just trim off, I'm going to cheat, trim off a little bit of the back. I'm going to grab my glue dots and I'm going to put a little glue dot on the inside there like that. I'm going to decide where I want it to be. I'm going to snuggle it under. And no one's ever going to know that I forgot to do it. So you girls, you're going to stick your little vellum piece on before you actually stick it down. I carried away with myself there. I need to cut a little tiny bit more off there. Brute force and ignorance. Got me lots of places. There. Phew! Okay, so that's going to go on there like that. And then what you're going to do is get a little glue dot under the text, because then it's less likely to be seen on your vellum. And then just pop that down there like that. And that's your shaker card. My shaker card's actually shaking, yay! Your shaker card is finished. So I love that effect. I really hope you enjoyed making that card. I've trimmed my Merry and Bright down on the other one a little bit closer. You can do it as you wish. So thank you. Come back and I hope to see you another month at my technique class. Thanks for watching.